Everybody and their grandma seems to be obsessed with this Palworld game. Every time I look down the directory of Twitch streamers, and my friends who stream on Twitch primarily, and see what they're doing, they're playing Palworld. Palworld, Palworld, Palworld. What is Palworld? Well, I've seen it described as Pokemon with guns, which A, sounds unappealing to me, but B, also sounds kind of annoying. It sounds like an obnoxious kind of thing that someone would say. It's almost like Monster Energy Drink is trying to make a competitor to Pokemon. So even from just on that level, I was already clocked out on the whole thing. Like, Pokemon with guns, pass. But as I heard more and more about it, the things that I was hearing about had less to do with the game itself and more to do with the circumstances around the game's existence. Primarily, the allegations that the developers of Palworld basically used AI to crib Pokemon designs. And a lot of the designs do look shockingly similar to Pokemon. There are threads all over Twitter about this Palworld character that looks kind of like an amalgamation of these Pokemon characters and whatnot. And it's kind of interesting. It made me think about it for a second, like, oh, is this... We've had games use AI before. Is this the first really big instance of a very popular game? This game sold a lot of units right up top. I think they said 4 million in the first few days. It sold a lot. So is this the first instance of a game that uses AI in an unethical manner, popping off, selling big, and kind of being the first to get open that Pandora's box? I can't imagine if this game actually did sell those numbers by basically building a game off of stolen assets and hidden behind the facade of AI. I can't imagine that there aren't a lot of executives at other game studios going, this is the formula going forward. But before we jump to that conclusion, let's go ahead and take a look at this controversy and see exactly what it's all about. Okay, Palworld's Pokemon with Guns controversy explained. What is Palworld? Palworld is an open-world survival game developed by Pocket Pair. Yeah, that's the other thing, is apparently this game isn't like Pokemon at all. It's more like Rust or Ark. It's just cribbing Pokemon designs. That task player with collecting resources, crafting tools, building and defending bases, and catching a range of Pokemon-like monsters known as Pals. While the monster design is strikingly similar to Pokemon, the gameplay is not. Palworld borrows from a range of other titles such as Zelda Tears of the Kingdom, Fortnite, and Minecraft, mashing these influences together to create a uniquely chaotic world. Gamers have described Palworld's approach to monster taming as more realistic or more American version of Pokemon, with an emphasis on exploration. I don't know what that means, a more American version of Pokemon. Pals can be butchered for meat, oh my god, enslaved and armed with rifles to defend the player's base. Even humans can be captured and enslaved by the player. Oh, this sounds brutal. So far, gamers love it. The early access Palworld sold 5 million copies in 3 days. Okay, so I was off by a million. Sold 5 million copies in 3 days, an extraordinary success, particularly for a small developer like Pocket Pair. Palworld certainly isn't the first monster taming game being accused of a Pokemon clone, and it won't be the last, but it's the first to reach mainstream success and possibly challenge the dominance of Pokemon. No, it will not do that. The success is interesting to note in this particular instance, but Pokemon is a colossal IP that spans every different type of medium. We're talking anime, manga, comics, movies, video games, playing card games, board games, everything. Like, Palworld, 5 million copies in 3 days is impressive, but it would need to do 10 times that in about a couple of months, and then it would have to multiply that success with sequels and spin-offs about maybe roughly 15 to 20 times before it could approach Pokemon levels of success, before it could challenge Pokemon. Okay. What is the Palworld controversy? Palworld has been accused by critics of plagiarism, with many noting a strong similarity between Pokemon designs and Pals. So here's one of the Twitter posts that's calling these out here. So ear shape is admittedly different, though simplified, but the coloring is a match, same gradient. A little different. The ears are a little. I mean, these go straight back. I think this is an Eevee. These go straight back, and these just kind of curl up a little. That's about it on that. But they say the gradient is the same. That's, I mean, that could be a lighting issue. Note the markings. Yeah, that is suspicious. This little oval thing here and the little oval thing here. He's still ugly though. Ears droop the same, fur on edge of face, body shape. I mean, this is a little. I would say this is a little generic. I mean, I'm not gonna. I guess the ears maybe, but and I guess maybe the ears and the little hair that pokes up here. I would say the ears and the hair poke up more than this thing here, but I don't know. This seems a little bit more blatant to me. This one makes me sad. Besides the obvious meganium, the flower could be taken from Lilligant. It bends the same way. I mean, it also kind of looks a little Charizard-y to me. I mean, I'm no Pokemon expert, but I'm leaving it to the Pokemon experts to really point it out. But here's the main part. Others have accused the developers of using generative AI to create the creature designs, a controversial topic in the creative industries. While there is no conclusive evidence so far that the game's assets were AI generated, critics pointed to a game previously developed by Pocket Pair, AI Art Imposter. That's funny. That's funny. They're being accused of using AI to steal or to plagiarize art assets, and they're like, no. Well, I don't know if they've actually said that. I'm assuming, I guess, that they would be like, no, we totally didn't do that. We totally didn't do that. We made those assets ourselves. We've got a tireless team of artists that are painstakingly drawing out each and every one of these creature designs using their brilliant imaginations. Like any similarities is purely a coincidence. We've got a team of artists that are busting their asses, and it's honestly a little bit insulting that you would even besmirch our honor and our hard work with the idea that we would just be plagiarizers using AI. Why would you even think that? Where'd you even come up with that idea? Oh yeah, that's our last game we worked on. AI Art Imposter. It's just Art Imposter. It was a pretty impressive title from us, I have to say. AI Art Imposter. Anyways, let's go talk to our team of artists back there. That uses generative AI as a core mechanic. Many artists and game developers have taken a strong stance against the use of generative AI, citing potential job losses, copyright issues, and sloppy derivative work as an inevitable consequence of the technology. Well, I guess the maiden voyage of this sloppy and derivative work tends to be, I guess it's the derivative nature of a Pokemon clone that sold 5 million copies in like 3 days. So kudos to the brave soldiers, the brave adventurers up front, forging on to chart a path. The brave pathfinders at the forefront of AI game development, who are taking the slings and arrows of creating derivative, sloppy work to the tune of 5 million sold in 3 days. I'm sure they're really struggling with that. Pocket Pair CEO Takuro Mizobe is an AI guy and has expressed enthusiasm regarding the potential of generative AI in the past. Heads up to anyone thinking of supporting or playing Palworld who also cares about Gen AI issues. Generative AI. The CEO of the studio is full speed ahead on generative AI, frequently promotes it and tries to push its use in his studios. Even made a game focused entirely around using SD. And I guess these are pictures of this dude's tweets. If you pass it through the filter of AI, the image is often not of a specific thing, so maybe the copyright issue will be resolved? What? I was surprised to see that the world is actually moving in that direction. About 30 years, the general public perception of copyright may have changed considerably. Well, I mean, that's definitely true. I don't know if it'll be for the better or for the worse. People who use Photoshop or Krista are not called digital artists, right? AI Illustrator is a hot topic, but what's even more frightening is when you call someone Illustrator, it seems like it's normal to refer to an to an AI illustrator. After AI becomes widespread, a new world will probably be born. Analog illustrator, painter, human painter. Is this a robot? is this a robot tweeting this out? Calculation, hand calculation industry, handicraft animation, hand drawn animation. A computer literally translates to, quote, a person who calculates, end quote. And it seems that in the past, it was actually a human being. Nowadays, it refers to electronic computers, so the time may not be too far when Illustrator refers to AI algorithms and software. Which Illustrator are you using? SD, Midjourney? I think this might be written by a robot. I think it might be. After many delays behind the scenes, it finally has been released. We are running GPU on our server, so we are definitely in the red. If you ever tried illustration generation, please take this opportunity. Mobile is free. Okay, so this guy is like all in on AI, generative AI. In December 2021 tweet, Mizobe even posted pictures of Pokemon-like creatures generated by AI, which made many critics suspicious. Did Palworld copy Pokemon's designs? At a glance, Palworld's creatures certainly look like Pokemon. The casual gamer could easily mistake them for official Pokemon designs. Okay, look. I have shared a lot of thoughts about AI in the past, and many of them are, I guess, for people who are AI enthusiasts, probably a little too spicy for their pepper. But I will maintain that I am pro AI. I think AI will have tremendous benefits in the sciences, medical field, medical research, scientific research, astrophysics, astrophysiology, kinesiology, like anything to do with science, health, medical applications, exploration, mechanical engineering, like any of that sort of stuff. AI, the possibilities are fascinating to think about. So far, we only ever really see it. It's not to say that that kind of stuff isn't happening, because it is, and we probably just don't hear about it because it's not the most immediately sexy stuff in the world. What we do hear about, because it is sexy, is AI being used to generate art. And I have always been of the mind that any kind of AI that is used for profit, should be outlawed, with very few exceptions. The exceptions being STEM industry fields, like a lot of the stuff that I was just explaining. Those get exceptions, and there have to be, I imagine, a case by case, very specific exceptions made in the creative realm that have to be applied for on a case by case basis. No blanket exceptions anywhere in the art field, anywhere in the arts. So anything that generates a picture, anything that generates a piece of music, anything that generates a story or writing, all outlawed, all banned. You cannot make a single penny. I mean, we're not going to be able to be like, well, we're going to outlaw AI, generative AI creation in general, because that toothpaste is already out of the tube. This shit's only going to get even more expansive. Best you can do, outlaw the profit motive behind it. I want to disincentivize this sort of stuff. But the thing is, like, I do think that there is a realm for using AI in game development, but I don't think it should be used in the capacity of asset generation, of art generation. It should be used in the capacity of basically the infrastructure of the actual game engines themselves, being able to use them to, at the most base level, replace a lot of the rote work that people might do for months on a time, managing spreadsheets and whatnot for complex dialogue trees or complex inventory systems. You could use it. I would say you should be able to get a pass at using it for something like that. Using it in whatever capacity it can be used for, let's say, some real-time applications on the game engine side for either visual processing purposes or for optimization purposes, whatever it may be used in that capacity, I think you should be fine to use it there too. And even I would even have some exceptions depending on using AI dialogue systems, so like the in-world system, but that would be contingent upon that system, and you'd have to work with labor unions and stuff like that. I definitely want there to be legislation specifically about it too. It would have to comply with some standard that would allow for people whose voices have been used to train those AI models get some kind of compensation for their voices being used in that capacity. That's one instance where I think that some piece of art or performance being used by AI could be profited from in a game development capacity. But other than that, all this other shit, no go. The thing is, I don't know how you would prove it. If these guys, I mean, I guess you would have to like audit their game engine. To add to the confusion, the violence and exploitation of Palworld could be read as a parody of the sanitized cutesy world of Pokemon, but the game doesn't appear to lean into a direct parody of the Pokemon world. Other commentators argue that God damn. Other commentators argue that the line between parody, plagiarism, and inspiration is always murky, and the monster designs from competing franchises like Digimon often resemble Pokemon. Others pointed out that small differences can be heightened by contrasting art styles, citing examples from other monster taming games. Palworld doesn't really have a distinctive aesthetic. The open world is fairly generic, inhabited by anime-eyed humans that kinda resemble the models of Fortnite, but the Pals have big bright colors and cartoony proportions of Pokemon. Altogether, it doesn't quite mesh into a coherent visual identity. You know what? I've never actually watched any part of this. Oh, god damn, come on. Never actually watched any part of this game, to be honest. My mild take on Palworld. My main issue is that it doesn't have a visual identity of its own. Its whole thing is, you could easily mistake this for Pokemon. No one else has ever copied Pokemon so closely. It really isn't the same thing as Digimon, Neopets, Monster Rancher, Yokai Watch, Metabots, Fighting Foodons, I never heard of that one, etc. You could never actually mistake a single asset from any of those for Pokemon if you're paying attention, just as Pokemon aren't interchangeable with Dragon Quest. But Palworld's design ethos is, if you haven't been keeping up with the latest Pokemon games closely, you're going to have a hard time distinguishing between Pokemon and Pals. Yes, you can point to specific design differences, different shapes, colors, etc., but the overall visual style of Palworld is exactly a copy of Pokemon with nothing added. The gameplay, I mean, I think what he's referring to here is not just, I guess to the end user, it's the visual aesthetic. I guess on the developer side, if there was like an actual art team that was responsible for creating these characters by hand and not AI generated, it would be the art Bible. And I guess the art Bible of this game is almost a clone of the art Bible, of what the art Bible would be for a Pokemon title. The gameplay attitude of the game is different, but the visual style is the same. I haven't seen a single good argument for Palworld having its own style, just that it's clearly legally distinct from Pokemon. That's super cynical. Legally distinct. Yes, Palworld has similar mons to Pokemon. They'd be stupid not to. They want to attract Pokemon fans who are attached to specific I mean, that's kind of the point of the allegations there. Again, not saying they're crossing a legal line, but they're essentially like that annoying kid in class that holds their finger real close to you and says, I'm not touching you, I'm not touching you. Yeah, I can see that as the argument there. Imagine how much cooler Palworld could be if it actually had some cool, distinct art direction. It's not as if they're lacking for artistic talent in Japan, but they did the most cynical thing instead. They collaged designs from existing Pokemon in hopes of making it look as similar but legally distinct as possible. I guess some people find this funny. I just see it as lazy. I think people should aspire for more. Well, I mean, yeah, this is like, on a certain sense, it kind of reminds me of those Asylum movies, if you've ever had the misfortune of coming across any of those. Like, Atlantic Rim. I think that's one of them. It was a parody of Pacific Rim, which I don't think that makes any sense. I don't think there is such thing as an Atlantic Rim. Like the Pacific Rim is a geographical location, but I don't think that an Atlantic Rim exists. But this was a movie that was made by the Asylum. Oh, geez, I can't even get a good picture of that art. This was a movie that was made by the Asylum to basically just cash in on the popularity of Pacific Rim when Pacific Rim had released. Look, it even has a little bit of Transformers in there too. I mean, but that was the sequel, I guess. Maybe they were trying to go for the Transformer angle on the sequel. But you watch those movies, you see that this company, they put out a lot. They put out a lot of absolute garbage, just pure trash. And it's frustrating. This is the vibe that I get whenever I see this guy say something like that. Like, you know, they just collage designs from existing Pokemon in hopes of making it look similar but legally distinct as possible. I guess some people find this funny. You know, I guess some people find this funny. I just see it as lazy. That's the vibe I get from a lot of these types of movies. Let's see, like AVH, Alien versus Hunter. Like, I wonder what this is supposed to be. I wonder what this is trying to be. Alien versus... Come on, man. Why don't you make me magnify if you're not going to magnify? Alien versus Hunter. I wonder what that's supposed to be, huh? Like, I am Omega. Is this the Omega Man? Okay, well, this is just an adaptation of the Omega Man, so that's different. Invasion of the Pod People. Is this a... Okay, so this is an Invasion of the Body Snatchers knock. I didn't know if it was based off of something legit, but yeah, that was a Body Snatchers knock. Alan, oh my god, what the fuck? Alan Quatermain and the Temple of Skulls. I wonder what they're trying to mimic here. From the story that inspired Indiana Jones. What are you talking about? The film follows the explorer Alan Quatermain. Oh, this is based off of a real dude? Alan Quatermain is the protagonist. Oh, it's based off of a piece of fiction. King Solomon's Mines. Okay. I see what they did. I see. Okay, so this is almost more clever. This is almost clever. So instead of making a mockbuster based off of, I guess, Indiana Jones and the Kingdom of the Crystal Skull, and they're calling this this film as a mockbuster of Indiana Jones and Kingdom of the Crystal Skull, but they kind of did it in a way where it's like, okay, what inspired Indiana Jones? Oh, Alan Quatermain from the King Solomon's Mine book from the 1800s. Well, let's just do an adaptation of that and make it look as Indiana Jones as possible. You know, they almost used some brain power on that one. I have to commend them. Journey to the Center of the Earth. I mean, that's Jules Verne, right? I mean, I don't think they have to pay to use that one. I think that's public domain. Street Racer. Oh, boy. Like, sometimes they just have generic-ass movies, too. The Day the Earth Stopped? Is this the Day the Earth Stood Still? Its title and premise are similar to those of the 2008 remake of The Day the Earth Stood Still. So yeah, it's a mockbuster of The Day the Earth Stood Still. Oh, boy. These guys just make such garbage. World of Worlds 2. What? C. Thomas Howell? What are you doing, buddy? What? Okay, now this just sounds like straight up porn. 18-year-old virgin? American sex comedy? What? I mean, an 18-year-old virgin is just like a normal fucking kid that just turned 18. Tamara Olson, written by Naomi L. Selfman, starring Olivia, what the fuck? An 18-year-old virgin, Katie Powers, lusts after fellow student Ryan Lambert and hopes to have sex with him at a high school graduation party. However, Ryan has a policy of not having sex with virgins. This leads to Katie on a... Oh, boy. Oh, brother. This needs to be investigated. Barely legal, unrated version. Barely legal, unrated version. All right, this entire shoot needs to be investigated. I'm calling for an investigation of the entire production process of that movie. Sex pot. Princess of Mars. Wait, Princess of Mars? This isn't supposed to be 2009. This isn't John Carter, is it? Were you titled and released in 2012 as John Carter of Mars? Oh my god. Wait, hold on a second. Loosely based on Edgar Rice Burroughs' The Princess of Mars, the film's protagonist mentions how the origin story is inspired some elements of James Cameron film Avatar, but neither the credits nor promotional material mention Edgar Rice Burroughs. It's not to be confused with the higher budget sci-fi fantasy John Carter, which is the direct adaptation of the okay, so this is like this barely constitutes a mockbuster. This almost seems like something closer to like plagiarism than a mockbuster. These guys play fast and loose. The Haunting of Winchester House. What is this supposed to be? Oh wait, they have a mockbuster based on. Okay, it's on the side here. I should have been looking at the side. A Haunting in Connecticut. Okay, so Princess of Mars they say is Avatar, but the Terminators obviously Terminators. How did they get away with this? How is this not a lawsuit? I mean, it's called Terminators with fucking robot skulls and shit. Like, it's an obvious knockoff of the Terminator franchise. But you see, like, there is enough legal leeway that allows them to get away with this shit. So, Paranormal Entity, I wonder what that is. What are some of their recent ones? Let's see what their recent ones are. 2020s. Battle Star Wars? Come on. Battle Star Wars? Oh, God. I hate Asylum so much. Top Gunner for Top Gun Maverick. How do they shit these movies out so fast, too? These motherfuckers, they must love AI. They must love the onset of AI. Because these dudes are not artists at all. None of these dudes are doing this for art. None of these dudes are doing this for the love of the game. This is all just very cynical, like, we're going to trick some old grandma somewhere. Somebody that isn't really, like, super tuned in to, how to, search properly for the movie they want to watch. They're going to accidentally watch one of these. Or, the most innocent application is a lot of these people that like watching so bad it's good movies. I mean, none of these are so bad it's good. All of these are just bad, I promise you. How do you do a mockbuster of Moonfall? Moonfall itself was the mockbuster. Oh my god. Yeah, this is all super cynical. And this is only, like, this shit, these guys are going to pop off. When AI, wait, they have two? They have two movies from Top Gun Maverick? Wait, when did Top Gunner come out? Was released to cash in? Oh, was released to cash in on a previous release date that was changed. Also known as Wingman Under Siege. Okay, so that's what happened. This came out in 2020 to try to ape off of Top Gun Maverick. But Top Gun Maverick delayed, obviously, out of 2020 because of COVID. They wanted people to watch it in the theaters. So they fucking released this in 2020 because they already made it. There was no point in delaying its release because this isn't the kind of movie that anyone actually ever wants to see. And they just need to, get whatever money they can get from it anyways. So in between the original delay of Top Gun Maverick and whenever Top Gun Maverick actually hit the theaters, they shit out a sequel. They shit out a sequel so that they could double dip. They could get in on the Top Gun Maverick thing after all. Sequel to Top Gunner. It is the first film by the Asylum to get a theatrical release. Oh man. Why? Thor, God of Thunder. Bullet Train Down. Battle for Pandora. Like, some of these, I mean, I don't understand how these aren't, like, immediate lawsuits. I don't understand how a lot of these just aren't immediate lawsuits. But if the argument there is that Palworlds is just like a video game version, I mean, if AI, oh my god, I didn't even consider that. If AI leads to more game mill type shit, then we absolutely need to outlaw it. If AI leads to more game mill games, more game mill type studios, just dropping asylum type bullshit out there to confuse people or trick people into purchasing their bullshit, then we definitely need to outlaw this shit for the creative arts. I didn't even consider that. Pocket Pair CEO responds to the controversy. On Sunday, the plagiarism accusations intensified as an anonymous user on Twitter claimed that the proportions of some of Palworld's in-game 3D models appear to be almost identical to models from the Pokemon Scarlet and Violet games on Switch. Damn, these motherfuckers are breaking it down. They're going into the wireframes. Pocket Bear CEO Mizobe responded to the controversy on Monday on Twitter, but did not confirm nor deny the allegations. Did not confirm or deny. Seems to me like those are some allegations you're going to want to strongly deny. Translated by Google, Mizobe's post reads, "Currently we are receiving slanderous comments against our artist, and we are seeing tweets that appear to be death threats." I doubt anybody is given Palworld developers death threats. "I have received a variety of opinions regarding..." I mean, I wouldn't be surprised, but I doubt it. "I've seen a variety of opinions regarding Palworld, but all productions related to Palworld are supervised by multiple people, including myself. So what? Who are you? And I am responsible for production." Yeah, so what? Who are you? You're the guy that fucking loves generative AI. "I would appreciate if you would refrain from slandering the artists involved in Palworld." No. No. Prove to us they didn't plagiarize it. Like, that's what kind of a bullshit statement is that? "I would appreciate it if you would refrain from slandering the artist involved in our scheme, in our con job." No, that doesn't work that way, pal. Yeah, we're going to have to come up with some mechanism for being able to better monitor this, better safeguards from using AI to just straight up rip people's work and then sell 5 million copies, in 3 days. 3 days is a crazy fast amount of time to make that kind of money based on stolen assets or plagiarized assets, rather. Either or, really, because, these guys may not have stolen assets, but that's not going to stop the copycats, because the success of this is definitely going to create copycats. This is what I've kind of been afraid of in all of this AI talk in the game services, and it's a shitty. We live in a shitty hell world. What can I say? I don't know how this is going to unfold. It'll be interesting to see if anything is. I mean, usually Steam is pretty good about leaning on developers who have these kinds of allegations. We've seen them take games off of Steam before over stuff like this, but I don't think they've done that. The game is still available. I mean, everybody's playing it. I guess we'll just see where it goes. I know that there was a modder that basically just you made a mod that turned all of the pals into Pokemons. They turned them into them Pokemans. So they all were just Pokemon creatures. And Nintendo immediately hammered that shit down. So, they've got eyes on this for sure. They're not oblivious. They probably have their lawyers scrambling to find some way to either prove plagiarization or find some way to take this thing off the board. I don't know if there is a way for them to do that, but if anyone's going to find a way, it's going to be Nintendo's lawyers. So it'll be interesting to see how the world of Palworlds develops in the coming months.